Hey Charmaine, I thought the easiest way to reply to this would just be to make you just a short little video just to go through um, these things. And hopefully it just helps you um, work for the exam. Okay, so let's go to module 1. I wrote down, just to make sure, question 6. Okay, so in question 6, the data you're collecting is mortgage amount requested. What is the level of measurement? And we're given 4 options here. So let me explain what the 4 are, and then hopefully the answer I get is correct, and hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. So nominal variables are just the name of the variable. So it would be qualitative words, basically. Ordinal, which is our second option, that's the order of the choices. So like first, second, third, fourth. Another way to think of ordinal would be things like education level, for instance. I could say like high school, college, graduate school, only finished elementary school, right? Like, so I could have some order of choices. Interval, which is our third choice. So these are things like, let me start off with some examples and then talk about what the definition is. An interval would be something like a temperature or even like a shoe size, because what you're able to do there is both you're able to order things from like smallest to largest, but also you can start to quantify the difference between the two. So for instance, if it's an 80-degree day and then it's a 60-degree day, we know that there's a 20-degree difference between those 2 days, and that the 80-degree day was hotter, right, or bigger than the 60-degree day. Same with shoe size, right? Someone could have a size 10 and someone could have a size 11, right? We could say that there's one shoe size difference between the two, that the 11 is a bigger shoe than the 10. So again, it gives us our order of values and our ability to quantify the difference between the two. But the one thing that interval does not do, that ratio does do, and this is the difference between the two, is that interval does not have a true zero. Ratio does. Now, what we mean by true zero is, so let's go back to interval. What if I had shoe size 0? Does that mean that there's no shoe there? No, I mean, actually the conventions of, well, actually, I hope I'm right here. There is. It's just the shortest length possible. So it means it's a non-zero number. It's just the shortest distance possible. So baby shoes, I guess, is what we got here. Shoe size 0. So temperature would be another example, right? When the temperature is 0, it's actually there's actually some temperature going on. True 0 would be something like a pulse. So if there's a 0 pulse, there's no pulse going on. The person's dead. Weight. If the weight is 0, there's nothing there. And what ratios allow you to do is they also allow you then to do ratios, meaning division. It also allows you to do multiplication, besides being able to do addition and subtraction. Okay, so let's go back to this. The data you collect is mortgage requested. It's not nominal because we're actually collecting a number. It's not ordinal because it's not first, second, third, fourth, or some sort of category in that kind of way. Interval. If I don't request a mortgage, is there a mortgage there? I'm thinking no. So unless I'm missing something, I think it should be ratio. Now, I could be wrong. I could be just quickly interpreting this, and then you're going to think, what is the value of having shiting? But I think if I'm correct, Oh, thank God. So what I had to say to myself in my head is, if someone requests no mortgage, that's a true zero number. Ah, God, the anticipation, huh? Let's go to module two. Again, I totally could get this wrong. It's kind of the excitement of doing this. You might think it's stressful, but I kind of think it's exciting. Let's look at module two. Let's follow the same steps here. I believe you also asked about number 6, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, yeah. How to tell which measure is most appropriate. Okay. So you're asking about these two parts to this. Now, what's noticeable about this is that there's a skewness to this, meaning it's the most number of items, the frequency is higher on the left-hand side than the right-hand side. And so what that then means for this second thing is that the mean is actually going to be less appropriate. Now, the way that I know that the mean is going to be less appropriate is that the mean is the sum. And what we're seeing here is that there's actually more outliers. More of the data is skewed to the left-hand side, meaning that the mean is also going to be skewed to the left-hand side. When you've got skewness going on, the best measure of the center given these two choices is going to be the median. If this were like test scores, basically we would say the dumb kids are making the curve bigger, to put it inappropriately. Let's talk about measure of spread that would be most appropriate for this data. Let's talk about what the definitions of these are. Let me just make sure too that I talked about this. So median would be you take all the numbers from lowest to highest and you pick the middle number in that range. Mean is you add up all the numbers and you take the average, meaning I divide by the number of observations. Here, for measure of spread, range is me basically trying to consider the outliers here. The standard deviation is going to be how much is my deviation around the mean, how much is my spread around the mean, and my IQR is going to be my interquartile range. That's what the IQR stands for, and that's going to be the difference between my Q3 and my Q1. So again, we've got data that's skewed to the right-hand side. Range does not work well. Let's start with that. Range is not going to work well because we do have more outliers, because we do have some skewness. Standard deviation, meaning amount we're deviating from the mean, is also not going to work out well. So the answer... And the reason why it's not going to work out well is because we know that the mean is going to be somewhere over here, and I'm going to have a lot of deviation from that. So really, if I take quartile 1 and quartile 3, and I take the difference between the two, that should actually give me a pretty good range. Again, I could be wrong here in how I do this, so hopefully it's going to give me 2 green boxes. Oh, fuck yeah. Well, hopefully my answers make some sense, better than what's being provided to you here. Let's go to module 3. Your question about module 3 was question 9. So in question 9, the question that's given to us here is which of the following statements is false? So we've got, let's talk about what the definitions of these are. Disjoint would be that they can never occur at the same time. So the definition of disjoint event is the opposite of this. Sorry, not the opposite of this. It is this, meaning this is a true statement. Disjoint events indeed cannot occur at the same time. So this is a true statement. Two independent events. So disjointness would mean that there's no shared outcomes. Independent would mean that they are unrelated. So two independent events cannot occur at the same time. Now the third option here is two complementary events cannot occur at the same time. So what we know about complementary events is that the events need to add up to 100%. Like let's say 60 and 40 add up to 100. If complementary events were happening at the same time, the percentages are going to add up to more than 100%. So, meaning we better see option 3 be green. Again, I could be wrong. Fuck. How could two... So the answer's got to be... Let me just convince myself of this. Why is it that two independent events... Oh, sorry, cannot occur... Okay, sorry. That's me misreading and doing this too quickly. So independent events are unrelated. If they're unrelated, then they... I mean, randomness would say that they can occur at the same time. Sorry about that. I was reading that quickly. Well, I'm not going to remake this video. I think you'll allow me to have read something too quickly and have made a mistake. I'd say that it's wrong of me to mark it wrong when you do it, but aren't I supposed to be an example to you of how to do things correctly? Let's try a similar question. Let's try this again. Dude, how is that any different? It's the same question, it's just a different order. How is that? Well, fuck. How? Yeah, I'm a smart guy now. Okay. Hopefully this helps you figure out those questions.